I think this is probably our last day of filming, and so appropriately I want to talk about Joan's last year. It's hard to believe that here we're in 2010. I got to get used to that year, but Joan died in 1998. A long time ago, and yet I still, almost on a daily basis, feel that she's still with me in some way. But the last year began about a year before her death, when she went to a doctor. Joan very seldom went to a doctor. She went to, for the first time, she went to this doctor, and a woman, a doctor, who told her that, everything was great. She looked great. Well, she seemed to be in perfect health, but there was a little spot on her lung that they ought to look into, So then came X-rays and CT scans and all that stuff they do, And pretty soon it was diagnosed as cancer, and but nevertheless, it seemed to have been caught early, so we of course hope for the best. But as things progressed, she went on to radiation treatment and chemotherapy. Each session took a few hours, so there was always a small circle of victims there, and it was, as I say, poignant, because you could just see on the faces of these people, and mine and Joan's too, I'm sure, that they were entering into frightful times for themselves. So we went through month after month of this thing, and I keep track of her weight. She was losing weight, and then she'd gain weight, which would seem like a good sign, and then she'd lose weight, and so on. And as a result of the chemotherapy, she lost her hair, which I know really hurt her. She was in a way embarrassed by it, I guess. So we used to go to a wig shop, and she had 2 or 3 wigs, and we set up the little den at the back of our house with a hospital bed that you could, set up, and she had oxygen tubes coming in, and but of course we had a lot of time to talk and to ponder about what's going on. And I think that Joan, she kept her spirits up as best she could. I recall one lapse. At one point she said, "It's not fair." And she got a startled look on her face, and I think it escaped. But of course she felt it wasn't fair. She was not in the prime of life, but certainly in her, late 60s, and presumably a lot of years ahead of her, Joan and I had, of course, talked over this business of life support and extensions of life by feeding tubes and all that sort of thing. And she had made it clear that she didn't want that. If it came to that, she didn't want it. As bad as the year was, as bad as her last months were, or as difficult as they were, in some ways it was a very time of closeness where we really talked about a lot of things, and I think maybe came to understanding about things that we'd never done before, so there was some good part to it. During the last month in November, she was getting radiology treatments, and there was at St. Joseph's Hospital, and they had a van that came around and picked up the patients, and she'd been doing that for several weeks, and on this particular day, which turned out to be the last time that she went there, she actually collapsed before the van came. And in the den, I was trying to hold her up, but I couldn't. And the van driver came in and immediately called 911. They sent over an ambulance, took her to the hospital, the emergency ward, and Joan was incoherent. She couldn't talk, or at least she didn't. And at any rate, we got her to the hospital, the emergency room, and immediately the emergency room doctor, she was lying on a table, and the emergency room doctor shook his head and he said, "She's not going to survive this." And I was standing there, and there was a nun next to me, and the doctor said to me, "Do you want," I forget the terminology, but sustained treatment? And as I said, Joan had been totally out of it, and all of a sudden she said, "No, we don't want that." And I was struggling to get the words out. Oh, I knew we'd agreed, I knew what she wanted, but still to say it was almost impossible. And she said, "No, we don't want that." And the nun said, "Is that clear enough for you, doctor?" So she lived only a few more days. They were preparing to move her to a hospice section, where they make people as comfortable as can possibly be done. And I spent a lot of time there, of course, but on the day she died, I wasn't there, and I got a call like 5 a.m. or something like that. The nurse said, "You better get here." Well, by the time I got there,
he died.
Sorry, Rob.
Well, I really should have earrings on.
What?
Why did that go
Why
ding,
did-
ding, 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 ding? We're going to have chicken! Oh, beef!
by the time I got there,
Yeah, leave! showed him where to go on the map. Rob's going, Dad, turn around, please, he's doing it.
Oh. Hi, Joan.
Hello. Are small. Hi, you scared me? Any more little cookie hints here you want to give me?
How you doing, Joan?
I'm fine, Dad. Why does it frighten me when he does that? Look, Mary. See? See, Ron?
Oh, yeah. That grounds it up nicely.
See, Dad?
Yeah, I think they have to
You
really...
can't get in the picture. We're looking at the me.
Yee.
Burn your mustache.
Of course, you know, it has to be braised in liquid. I like to get a...
Oh, yeah, we do too. That's a good idea with the sugar. Feeling left out, Dad?
Just leave it go for a while.
I kind of thought we should get a little more footage of Mom because we don't have that much, okay?
Well, I wish he'd got out when I had my pretty outfit on.
See, that's the way you always did. But that looks nice.
Looking good, man.
Mom, who's this?
You look silly there. Oh, Rob's taking pictures of food. I guess that.
Photograph pot.
Doesn't it go friends before food, or is it food before friends? How does that go, man?
It was friends before food was insincere.
Well, there's this guy named Packer years ago in some Western who ate his friends.
Huh?
Packer, wasn't it? His name, I know in the book Dashiell Hammett wrote called The Thin Man. He has almost a whole chapter that tells this story of this, a true story of a guy, a cannibal named Packer who, well, he developed a taste for his friends.
You get friends and food at the same time, huh?
Getting a picture of the bouquet.
Yeah.
Come on, stand beside the bouquet. Yeah,
Okay.
Nice, Mary. Nice picture of bouquet and your
Oh, yeah.
Mom and I.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Nice
shot.
of you to let me be in the picture with you.
Enjoy it, Mom. Okay. When your little feet come flying up out of it. And it was classic. I told, I was, when Mom came over to me, I said, I didn't really have a full concept of it until this happened. And just
She was gone. Okay, that's about it. That's about all that I'm able to discuss now. As I say, she's not with us physically, but she's still with me. I know that.